it's a beautiful day. It's the last day of May, and of course, we are here on First Touch to talk about all the Rocket League action happening around the world. Dazzering, Roll Diz, T Bates. You already know who it is, man. We're about to get it started.
Wait, hold on. Did someone else decide to go Michael Jackson real quick? Hold on.
Do you know that I've got to follow the takes that T-Bates was putting out last week? His takes were so incorrect that we had to replace him. He just couldn't be here, but it is lovely to be here joining you guys even after the sentence I just heard.
Man, look, first of all, if you replace a base, you need a tight do-rag around your head for one. We got to get you with one of those. You're going to DreamHack Dallas, right?
I can go get a towel with some waves. I don't know.
Welcome Tylacto to the show, though. Tylacto obviously been covering all the action in EU CRL, everything around that, and we are going to talk about that today. But of course, Tylacto's just been a great Rocket League analyst over his and what kind of casting career. I was gonna use a analyst word, but I might have said something that might have been TOS. So that being said, Tylacto, it's great to have you on the show to be able to talk to you about stuff today. We do appreciate it, you coming on for sure.
No.
Before we get into the video, I just have to let all of you know that over 50% of our viewers, 50% are not subscribed to the channel. We are on the road to 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and we need your help to get there. So please hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and enjoy the video.
I appreciate that. EU is so on top that it's one of the only feeling like major races that's actually sort of in the bag. I'm kind of disappointed in Europe. I'm super proud of us for the level of play that's been displayed, at least in the first regional. But this major race is underwhelming when you look at all the other regions.
You know, there's a team that's to blame for that, and it's Team Vitality. So much that we had to bring someone from Team Vitality on to, of course, give us some insight on it. So we brought in Ferra, the coach from Team Vitality. Ferra obviously is Vitality's coach, but of course, I've known Ferra from his competitive career. He's obviously a great Rocket League talent on the field and now off the field coaching his Vitality squad. Ferra, welcome to First Touch.
Thank you.
All right, gentlemen. Let's get into it. Tylacto alluded to it, but of course, we got to talk about this Vitality team. They're going back-to-back wins in EU. With Ferra joined earlier as we set up, I was saying, Ferra, congratulations on all the wins because they've just been winning all the time. It has been incredible to see. And I mean, Tylacto, I want to kind of start with you as we get ready to kind of like load in a couple of the highlights. I mean, what's your kind of take on Vitality's dominance?
My takeaway is that upper finals last weekend, not the grand finals and the fact that you guys survived the bracket reset. It was the fact that a team is capable of doing what that 4-0 sweep in the best of 7 was. They only conceded 3 goals.
Dang.
3 goals. 3 goals is crazy. Nah, they were definitely dominant in that upper finals. But when we talk about the grand finals, it's a little bit of an adjustment for K-Corp. They started to come back a little bit, but it's just a different level. When you got Zen Alpha and then you got Redosin, who in my opinion is one of the most improved players in Europe, specifically coming from last season. Like, he's improved so much as a player individually. He even got MVP, I believe, of this regional. Like, this team is like, how do you stop it? You got K-Corp struggling, which K-Corp looked like they were the best team in the world, and now they're getting absolutely embarrassed by this kid who everybody was calling a prodigy. A lot of people had doubts and said that he wasn't fulfilling expectations, but this kid is winning. He's a winner, and he's showing it right here.
I mean, Ferra, there's a lot that we want to unpack here for the Vitality team. I want to start with this, obviously the grand finals. Did you do the post interview after, or was it somebody else from the team?
I mean, technically I did, but I was translating for Zen. I was not answering question. I was translating for them. So.
Well, my question is like the bounce back for the bracket reset. Like after the bracket reset, talk to me about the process in between the games.
I think one of okay, so we had a kind of rich man problem, which is like for the past month we haven't lost a series, and I think that kind of started getting into our heads. and I don't think the the attitude, the comms were quite there for the grand finals in the beginning. Like we weren't as hyped up as we should have. We weren't giving the energy as we should have, and we took time in between the two series. We had 10 to 15 minutes to set things straight, and to realize that we're gonna lose. We're gonna lose at some point. We were gonna lose, so it's good to have that call back kind of thing. And we needed to actually work for the win, and they were not gonna be given to us. And if we weren't gonna go and get them, K-Corp was gonna beat us. So we really discussed things between each other, and we came back a bit stronger. I think we also had a little bit more of energy left in us, because we were coming from the winners finals instead of the losers finals. So all in that, we were able to come back and win the grand finals.
Yeah, one of the big factors that a lot of people are talking about is Radosin. Roldiz had alluded to it a little bit. That improvement arc from last season even into now. What's it been like working with Radosin?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of my biggest, one of my proudest accomplishments is when we picked up Radosin. That's pretty much at the time when I joined the team last year. Mm-hmm. And he was, pretty much a rookie. He had some good results with Williams results, but that's nowhere close to what the expectations of Vitality are. And, getting him in shape and, making him understand what he needed to do, whether it was on the field or off the field, as a player, and how much he needed to grind, how much he needed to understand what was going on, what was supposed to be his role, and, everything around him being a player and his evolution. It's been great to see, and I'm glad I've been a part of it.
Yeah, I mean, I want to ask how you feel like it has an effect on a player. I mean, we've been players, we know this, but we haven't played with a player as hyped up the likes of which Zen is. He seems like the prodigy of all that can only really be compared to Scrub and Justin in the past. How do you feel like it affects a player like Radosin and of course Alpha as well? And how have you managed that and made him so good that he's scoring goals at both ends of the field?
Yeah, I think the fact that they're close friends and close with each other just helped in general. I don't think they care too much about the hype and the expectations of people, and the staff around them, so including me, Gauthier, and a lot of the Vitality staff. Also, we try to make it as meaningless as possible, and we try to forget about it so the players can actually focus on the game. And when they focus on the game, when you have Zen on the team, it's just easier, because for Alpha and Radosin, you have someone you can put 100% of your trust in, and that brings so much to the team, to what we are able to do, to the confidence they can play with, to how much they can actually go earlier for balls, for how much they can trust him with everything he does. And I don't think the hype matters. It's just he's good. They're gonna play good with him, and that's all that matters.
And Ferra, I got a question. I get asked about my team, specifically, which I don't mind answering questions, but I got something that I kind of want to put you on the spot. You don't have to answer if you don't want to. All right, so you know who Batman is? Batman and Robin?
Yeah. I mean, okay. Yeah, but I'm not really familiar with the universe.
All right. So Batman is a main character, and then Robin's his sidekick. All right. So if you had to describe who was your Batman on Vitality and your sidekick on Vitality, who would you the main character, the one guy, the two guy, and then the three guy could be just that fill-in guy?
As players?
Yeah, as players.
I mean, right now I'd say Zen is the main character, Alpha is his sidekick, and Rado is the filler,
Wait, I did not expect that at all. Because I was watching the games on my stream, and Alpha would join, and he's like, it's me, and Zen is my little man.
Yeah, sure. I mean, everyone wants to be the main character, but the hype around him and how much it transformed the team, and the trust You know, I've worked with Alpha and Rado for the past year, so I've seen them play under different circumstances and with different teammates, whether it was with Kedop or Season, and then joining them just brought a different level to them. So yeah,
Zen is the
I
main
do feel
character.
is the main character right now. But everyone is like, I think that's one of the strengths of the team right now. Is that it's not about like who's better than everyone. It's everyone
Yeah.
can take turns and everyone has like the ability to adapt. And we saw it
Mhm.
this weekend with like Radozin,
Yep.
you know, getting all of the spotlight pretty much outside of the Zen's crazy goal. And I think that's what's good. It's like if someone doesn't feel as good as the other two, he can, you know, do a little bit less, and the other two will pick it up. And we've played very differently from between the regional one and the regional two, but we just kept winning, and that's great. You know, we can play differently. We can make the players play different roles, and it just keeps working. So for now, it's great.
Actually, I have a question for all three of you because you know we have something very kind of special with this segment. You are all former Rocket League pro players. Seeing Zen and seeing the kind of potential from Vitality as people who have played this game and kind of been in those like situations and understand what goes into it and things like that. Just kind of when you see the success and you also see the kind of talk, what is it kind of signal to you guys? Like where do you see the trajectory of Vitality going based on what you know and the level of the field? I want to start with Raul first and then kind of go around.
Well, the trajectory of Vitality, they've always been an org that has kind of had success. Like you look back in the old days, you had even K. There was a legendary roster. They end up picking up SK, who was a prodigy at the time. They just know where to find like the talent. They know the talent as an organization. It just takes a little bit. They had a huge dip for a minute, but then you pick up Ferra, Radosin, even Sizen was a valuable piece for them, especially coming into LAN. You picked up Alpha ranked, and now you got Zen coming in. Like this team Vitality, they just know where the talent is and how to mold and mesh it together. You pick up an extremely valuable coach as in Ferra to bring all the pieces together. Now look at them, they're dominating. You got a prodigy who a lot of people said that he was gonna come in, dominate Rocket League. He's doing exactly what people are saying, and they think that he's gonna be a little bit more nervous when it comes to LAN, and LAN is a different type of ball game. And I hope so. You know, we gotta play against them. But what it's looking like right now, this kid doesn't have any nerves. I don't know what's like, and the whole team around them just has this fuel of confidence. I just see them not getting taken down for a little bit. Like they'll eventually get taken down, but for now, I think that they have a tight grip on Europe as a region, and we'll see what happens internationally.
Tylacto.
All right. Well, for me, it's pretty simple. I compared them earlier, and the only comparisons you can draw in terms of upcoming prodigies is Scrub Killer back in like 2016 and Justin, you know, early 2017 into 2018. Both those players would go on to win world championships. They wouldn't have that much issue performing on LAN, and it's hard to see this being otherwise. I'm not saying that Vitality are going to go on and win the world championship or anything. Sure, they look like the most potentially likely team right now, but it's still not an overwhelming chance, right? The thing for me is that in these upcoming 2, maybe 3 years, can you name a player right now who's more likely to win a world championship than Zen, the way he's looking? Because I can't. He's 16. He's at the top of his game. He seems like he's at the top of the game. And he's got, and I'm not just saying it because Ferra's here, but he's got a hugely experienced, almost mentor just to stand behind him. And it feels like the perfect incubator for success, and it's scary.
Yeah, I mean, what can I say? I don't want to get too. I don't want me or even the team to get too ahead of themselves. You know, we've won, but we've won for 2 weeks, right? Like regional was yesterday, like no, 3 days ago. The previous one was 2 weeks ago. Worlds is in 3 months. Right now, it looks like we have a slight gap with the rest of Europe. Maybe not with Carmen Corp, but yeah, Europe. I'd say right now there is a top 4 in Europe with the BDS and Liquid. and we might be leading the charge, but things move fast. And we're leading now, but the goal is not to lead now. Sure, it would be great to be the first, European team to do the perfect split. But who realistically is gonna remember that if afterwards we don't, perform well at Worlds? So the goal is gonna be to keep, this level we're showing right now for the next 3 months, and it's gonna be, I think, the toughest task. It's great. We've actually improved a bit faster than we expected, to be honest, because when we picked up Zen, I mean, our expectations were to maybe win one regional, to qualify for the major and do better there. We're doing better than that, but we have to keep doing that for the next 3 months. And coming to Düsseldorf, we want to have the highest chances possible we can to win Worlds. And even with the highest possible chances, it might not be enough, because to win Worlds you need that little bit of luck sometimes. And so as long as we're here, on the final day, as long as we are confident in our play, we'll be happy.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, I asked that question because, man, I feel old. Like I used to talk about all three of you guys when you all were playing, and now we sit here and like two of you are ushering in like new prodigies or like talented players, and just being able to like see even like Tylacto taking on like the casting gig. It really is kind of like an eye-opening thing for us to be able to like sit here and have this kind of conversation. So it was definitely one of those things. Like I had a little sentimental moment, but I want to get us back on track.
Hold on. What's your opinion on it?
Oh, my opinion on it? Well, for me, looking at the way the game has been, and I think this is something that is we're going to see it make ripples through the ecosystem. Like, this is the same thing that we've seen in the past before, but you could tell it's on a different level. And the way that Vitality has had their success has been something that everybody has taken note of. Obviously, there are going to be challenges in the way, and I think everybody knows what those challenges are. What the team looks like on LAN. What do they look like when they lose on LAN? How are they going to be able to bounce back from that? Ferra is very aware of that, and I think that everybody else is aware of that too. So those would be kind of the biggest challenges, but it seems just like based on the crew and what they've been through, Ferra, Alpha, Radosin, they've all seen loss before. Zin's the only one who I don't think has to that extent, but they know how to get out of that. Mm-hmm. So I feel like, go ahead. I feel like you have something to say.
Yeah, I will add. For what you said, it's very accurate. And so Zen is not experienced, at the highest level for LANs, but Alpha and me especially, we've been through it. I've been in positions, especially in season 8 where, we were the heavy favorites and we don't perform. Like, we know these things can happen, but we also, I think we are able to see the traps we can fall into before they can happen, and we can anticipate. And that's going to be our goal, because, as opposed to Carmine Corp, who has been, slowly growing to, what they are today, and they had to lose in Rotterdam before winning San Diego. We can't do that. I mean, we can maybe lose Boston and win Düsseldorf. That'd be great, but we don't have as much time, right? We want to win Worlds this season, and for that, we're going to have to anticipate the issues we can fall into, and it's a good thing we, have a roster with a lot of experience. An organization with a lot of experience, whether it's for our game on all other games, and we're going to take all that in and try to perform as much as possible, as quickly as possible.
Yeah. So that's basically what I was saying.
Yeah.
Like so that's just how I feel. Like when you know that they have that in the back of their heads, and they're like they have that experience, I feel like they're in a really good spot right now. So I see them doing super well. Now, we're going to ask a question for the panel. We're going to start with roll days and go around. Are they officially the best team in Europe? Carmine Corp beat Vitality. Vitality beat Carmine Corp 3-1. They're 3-1 in series against K Corp since adding Zen. What's the thought? Are we putting them in that number 1 spot? Roll this.
Personally, I don't think you can have them anywhere outside of number 1. They're top 2. They're not 2. We even saw a tweet from Vatira. He was on the timeline talking about, oh man, we get to the finals and we see Vitality and then we just he says other words, but he says we just poop ourselves, you know? So just reading that from Vatira, who's supposed to be the best player in the game, like when K Corp is that intimidated, you add one player to Vitality, and he's a prodigy, but you add one player to Vitality, and now you got Vatira, who's supposed to be the best player in this game, saying that they're nervous? Look, Vitality's in their heads. Vitality got to be the number 1 spot. There's no other question, no other answer.
I mean, whatever team has ever been this feared, I want to repeat that, but I also want to say, really, they could just lose to K-Corp next week and we would immediately have them out of number 1. And that's just how fast things change. But right now, yeah, I mean, you can't make an argument for anyone other than like Hogan mode. It's just
Hogan mode facts.
Hogan mode is insane.
It's just got to be Vitality.
Ferra, actually, what do you think? You think you're the best team in Europe?
I don't know. I'll leave that for after.
PR fair.
No, I mean, I told you, we've won for 2 weeks. It's nice. It's great. We're trying to do something Europe hasn't done before, which is winning the 3 regionals. But as I said, it won't matter in the long run. In the few months, what's gonna matter is Boston. It's Düsseldorf. We have our eyes on that. We're preparing for that. We don't have. We don't have other things to say. Like we might be the best, but we have to prove it. So we'll keep proving.
Yeah, Vitality's a great team, and they've been winning. You know, there's that team in blue though, and then there's that other team in pink. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
You don't even believe that.
I don't believe that. Vitality's the best team.
You don't even believe that. Now, Ferra, I got a question. We all think you guys are the best team in the region so far currently, and K-Corp's the only roster that has beaten y'all and has kind of played close to you guys. But outside of Vitality, who do you think is your biggest like opponent that you guys are?
I mean, as I said earlier, I think.
Wait, don't answer that. We got that
right.
for later.
Oh, all right. My bad.
Nope.
I'm getting
He
ahead of
jumped the
myself.
gun. He jumped the gun. We got to swap around real quick. Actually, another hot question. Top 5 players in the world right now.
Oh, goodness.
Who you got in the top 5 players in the world right now? Everyone's already, people are saying Zip. You can see at the bottom text, Zip +4 is the only right answer. A lot of people got Zen in there. We'll do top 5, but no order, okay? You ain't got to do it 1 through 5. You just got to list 5 for me, okay? Who's the most ready for this?
I'm not ready.
I mean, I got my list, but
You got your list. Go ahead, Ro. Give me the list.
all right. You know, the first name I gotta throw out there, it's gotta be my boy FK. You know, FK's gotta be on that top 5 of all times. He's there every single time. He's probably the most consistent player in the world. But if you look statistically wise, second name, I'm gonna throw out Beast Mode. I think Beast Mode is the Batman to Daniel's Robin. You know, we always talk about Daniel versus Zen, but I think Beast Mode is the name on that team. Third, I'm gonna put Alpha 54. Yo, I think Bates was on to something 8 months ago, and it took him a little bit to get it going. But Alpha's looking he's looking super solid. I'm gonna add his little partner there, Zen, as number 4. I think there's a reason this team is dominating right now, and they got 2 of the top 5s on their team currently. There's only one way that I think you can dominate a region like that, and is if you have 2 top 5 players on your team. They're performing extremely well, and Verdosen's also like up there, honestly, in my opinion. And my number 5. Y'all ready for this? I got Itachi. Itachi, my number 5.
Lord.
I'm gonna show some respect to Itachi. He is not a tap-in merchant. He's not a tap-in. I'm waiting for T-Base. Where's T-Base at? I'm waiting for him to spawn.
You don't have Vatira in that list?
No, when Vatira is scared of another player, He cannot be in there. He is intimidating. He is terrified.
Actually
I
said
can't have him in
T-Base
there.
is gonna
Vatira could be like number
spawn,
6 or number 7.
Base is
need
on
to
his
get over
way,
the
by
fact
the
you
way.
said-
He said he's 15 minutes away,
Oh,
so
no.
we'll catch him up with everything else as the time goes on. No, Vatira!
Nope. He can't be scared. If you want to be the best, you can't be scared. He's intimidated.
Is he scared?
Zen joined the league. He said he was scared. It's his words, not mine.
Where did he say that at, man? Was it on Twitter or
Go
something?
check his Twitter.
Look, I was
we
on
play against
vacation last
Vitality,
weekend.
and then we just, we don't know how to hit the ball anymore. And then he was invisible during the series. Like, I can't watch a series and not know if Vatira is even playing. He wasn't even on the field against Vitality. It was Itachi. Itachi's like doing everything. He said, "Help me."
Oh Lord.
Yeah, no, I got Vatira in my top 5. I think I've only got one NA player. I think it's Beast Mode.
Only one?
Give me Vatira, Zen, Alpha, and Atto, I think. Yeah. I'll take that. Yeah.
What? There's no
Beast Mode's good, man. Beast Mode's good. He can hang with the EU
What are
players.
you? No, I said, what are you gonna say? Beast mode? That's insane.
Oh,
We're talking about
goodness.
Addo. Addo, I know you watching. I love you.
Hey, at
Boom,
least we
top
have delusional
5.
takes. Replace delusional takes.
Addo top 5 is better than Itachi top 5. Come on.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious.
I ain't gonna lie.
To be fair, I think I agree with him. Like Atto to me is like extremely good. He should be top 5. Yeah, he'd be top
You
5.
never had to
Atto
play.
should be
that.
top
You
5
never had
over
to play
Itachi.
against that man. My career was like, okay, my career finished like years ago, but it still limped on long enough to get decimated by Atto before he was even that good, and he's just only getting better. He's,
Okay, so this is
he's
bias
terrifying.
because you played against him.
I'm scarred, but it's
So
back
you had the material effect against Zen. Okay, so we got two scaredy cats that we're trying to argue for. Hold on, Tylacto.
You can't flame my take as bias when you had FK in your top 5.
Because he is.
Yeah, he stood behind you right now.
He
You have to
is.
put him
He
in
is
there.
top 5. You can't argue
I
against
can
that.
see
Like
why.
you
The
just see
numbers-
the
the
way
numbers,
he plays,
man.
and
He's
okay,
like he's
the
a
eye
numbers
test.
hog though. He's like a Roomba Hoover just going around scooping up the stats. You know?
Oh my god.
None of the other players on the pitch can get the numbers because he gets them.
Oh my god, he's calling him a stat pattern. He's calling your
It's
player
true.
a stat pattern.
It's kind of like Monkey Moon. Like it's harsh, and it shouldn't be a label, but it has an effect on the other players on the field.
I'm just gonna let this go in through one ear and out the other because this is just gonna. All right, go ahead. That's
Ferra,
poison.
what's your-
That's poison
what's
to
your
the
top
ears.
5, Ferra?
All right, I'll take the bias out and I won't put any of my players in it because otherwise I'll put
Ooh.
them 1, 2, and 3. You know.
Yeah.
So top 5 players that are not on my roster, I'd probably say, well, Atto and Vatira.
We got them both.
I'll put First Killer, and then 2 more. I'd say Daniel and Oski. I think.
Daniel and Oski. I like the giant shout.
Wait, so that means
Daniel.
Liquid is. So Liquid's the second team that you fear.
Not necessarily. Being good individually doesn't mean being good on the team environment.
Okay. So we're
True.
rating best individual talents, like skill wise.
But no, me, I don't know. Otherwise, that's why I say like I should just put my team first, and then you put like 2 from K-Cup, and that's it. You have your top 5. It's not that simple. I think you can have a good mix of like having good individual performance, being recognized that if you were on another team you'd be good as well. I think that's why my top 5 is the way it is, right? Like if you throw any of those 5 players in another team, they perform good as well. They don't need good result or like.
So you don't think Itachi could be good on another team? Hey, Vatira joined K-Corp to play with Itachi.
He's good, but top 5.
But top 5?
That's how I feel. I mean, I think Itachi is underrated as well, and
He's really good. He's one of my closest
probably
friends
make my
as well.
top 10.
But
He was the only one on the field this weekend.
5 players, it's tough, especially when you have to add NA players, and I'm not even sure if I should add them.
What you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
over here? See, now I actually need baits. So now I need baits. Baits, spawn in! Like, he might not agree with me, but like, my goodness.
Yeah, no, I don't think he's gonna agree with you at all. Actually, I know he's not gonna agree with you. Now, oh man, okay. Give me Zen, give me Vatira, give me Beast Mode, give me First Killer, and give me Rise. Because and listen, I can see people questioning the Rise. The Rise, you gotta understand, he is bringing BDS back to life. Like, that is an impact player. Now, keep in mind, yeah, he's been on more teams than I've been on. But that being said, every team he's been on, he's had a positive impact on. And I mean, you gotta think about it.
Has he really had a positive impact on Oxygen? I would say he went into hibernation for 4 or 5 months, and now he is putting in the work.
I don't
on
think
BDS.
Oxygen was savable.
Do you know Oxygen's point standards right now?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, to be fair, now that he's gone, sure, but I don't know whether that's just in his absence. It's not like they improved when they picked him up. He's doing great things for BDS, but it's a little speedy to put him in top 5.
I mean, I think it's a great sign for him to. He's probably going to make the major, this split with BDS, and the fact that he's going to be doing that with the 3 roster is done for the season is a great sign. But whether that means top 5 or not, I think he might need a little bit more, right? He hasn't won a regional decision, I think. So he hasn't won an even decision. So
that is true. He was at a major grand finals though, so you got to keep that in mind with Moise at the start of the season. And then Oxygen, look, I don't know, maybe Divine Intervention, I don't think could have helped Oxygen personally. Now with BDS, I think that they might have something here. They could definitely make a run potentially. So I got to put credit to that, and he's been consistent over the course of time too. I mean, it's really hard. There's a lot like that top 5 can flex. Like, I think everyone made like great individual points about who they have and why, they have who they have. Yeah. I want to wait on the Bates man to kind of see where he's at with that one, but
I'd appreciate that because he'd make us all look smart when he puts his top 5 up. So
kind of facts. I think he's definitely got to have Alpha top 5, right?
Can we guess his top 5? Because I don't know whether he's listening. Can we
Alpha,
guess
Atomic,
LJ,
and
that's already 5.
just throw somebody else.
Okay, now we want to go to the question World Dish had asked Ferra earlier, which is which team has the best chance at besting Vitality? Obviously, Raul alluded to a little bit earlier. Ferra, give me your take.
Wait, so which team that actually exists, or like a super team?
Yeah, the teams that exist, real teams right now.
Right now, I mean, Karma.
Yeah.
They're the only one to have beaten us in a series. Right now it's Carmen, and I think there is a clear top 4 in Europe. It's us, Karma, and BDS and Liquid, and there is actually a decent gap with the other teams. I like the fact that again this weekend the top 3 was like 3 of those 4 teams, and that was the same 2 weeks ago. I don't see that changing anytime soon. You can have upsets, right? But like from what I see every day, from what I see in tournaments, they're the gap right now, and for now they're the only teams that can maybe beat us. I mean, other teams can beat us, but like consistently, I think they're the only ones that can.
Okay,
and NA-wise, I don't know yet. It's too early to tell.
Yeah. Okay. I just got clarification on this. So tell me a team that doesn't exist that could take down Vitality. Like, if you could build a super team, what would that super team consist of? Everybody else also let us know your super teams at First Touch RL on Twitter. And if you have a good one, I'll bring it up on the show.
So without my players, right? I guess.
Yeah, they got to beat your players.
All right.
I'm gonna let you think about it a little bit.
Yeah, it's cool, man. You just pick LJ and Atomic and what +1.
Yeah.
It might just be fun.
What?
Well,
No, that's not what I would say.
No, Tylacto he's taking the Bates role.
I see.
I mean, LJ and Atomic are both great players, but I mean, I don't know. It's hard to know how NA are going to shape up against Vitality, unironically. I'm just so excited for the major. I feel like a lot of NA teams, the likes of FaZe version 1, they have the talent to win that series, and I hope we get to see it and we don't end up with like an EU stacked side of the bracket.
Okay, Tylacto, I need you to build me a super team now.
Atto, perhaps. Vatira can't be on it because he seems to give up when he sees Vitality. Atto and honestly, it's kind of tough. I would try and keep things simple, actually, and try and put Atto with Daniel on beast mode and just see what happens. I'm not sure it would work, but it could be enough that it sort of makes Vitality start to hesitate just a little bit because they can't assume they're going to win the majority of races to the ball on the field. And the second you start to have that doubt, that's the seed that grows into a problem for a team.
Okay, we got a lot of Rise, Joyo, Vatira in chat right now. They're thinking the old Moise squad can win. I don't know. I never thought about that. It's a lot of that spam too.
I can see that. I can see that team taking down Vitality. Honestly,
I'm gonna do
just because they do something specific. But if I had to build a super team to specifically take down Vitality, I'm gonna give me Calm, give me Reddles, and give me Arsenal. I need the 3 disruptors. They will delete everybody on the field, and Zen will not be able to get the ball. He will have no boost. There will be no one in net because all they do is park the bus, and they wait until Zen has an opportunity, or Alpha has an opportunity, or Redosin has an opportunity to do something extremely mechanical. They can't do that if they ain't got no boost, and if they're not on the field. Give me the 3 demolitions.
There's going to be no one to put the ball in the net
I don't
afterwards.
care. It will roll in.
All right. I'd like to see that.
Oh God. Ferra, what would your super team be?
Probably Vachira, Atto, and Monkey Moon for the French comms.
Oh, I respect it.
So yeah, Monkey Moon is still extremely I mean, he's performing really well right now in BDS. I think Atto is the best player on Liquid by a short margin, but I think he is. And Vachira is one of the best players in the world. So with the French comms, you add that, making them more comfortable. I think they could beat us, just like multiple teams in Europe right now.
Yeah, I see that. I don't know. I think I'm rolling with chat on this one. Chat said we did a poll in the chat. 68% of chat said Rise, Joyo, and Vatira can beat Vitality. Give me all Moist. We gotta bring them back together. Charlie, I'm about to call you right now. We're gonna set it up. Show match?
Oh no, not the bandwagon. Not again. He's jumping ship.
We got a tweet from Wavepunk. Wavepunk said, "Give me Garrett G, Rise, and Beast Mode."
Huh?
Garrett
Wait, how's
G,
that work, bro?
Rise, and Beast Mode. Honestly, I don't know about. I feel like the mechs. There's a mech difference there.
I just don't see enough. I mean Rise is like the only one. I do think that they need to be disrupted a decent amount, but because they are they're too solid in net. Like, then the only way to pull them out is to either destroy their cars or steal their boost. And I don't think Garrett does that. And I think Rise is gonna be like the only one doing that. Well, Beast Mode can, but.
Oh my goodness.
How do we think, just as a thought, and I don't know how you feel about it, Ferra, given that we can talk about this because you are confirmed major already, but how you feel about threats from other regions, particularly like Rule 1 or Falcons, or even Crew or NIP, because South America are looking sharp. It's hard to know because they're quite in isolation, right?
I think Middle East is a bit in a tough position right now. Like I saw them a bit stronger last year. I think right now they're struggling a bit. They're a bit more inconsistent, and I think they're major showing. I mean, they only have Falcons going this season, but I don't see them making as deep of a run as Falcons did last year. I think they're in a weird phase of having a lot of talent in the region, but maybe not in the right way yet. And it's hard for them to improve. It's a bit harder for them than if they were in Europe. Even though we do scream them sometimes, but with the ping difference and everything, it's much harder. So yeah, like and then for South America, I mean it's hard. Every time there is a good team there, they just go to North America. So yeah, I don't see like minor regions having a like decent chance at like having deep runs. I think top 4 is the best they can have right now, realistically.
Oh, okay, okay. I do want to kind of shift the conversation back to the real world too, because we kind of were talking about it in the real world. I do want to ask you this, Ferra. Do you think any NA team can beat you guys?
Yeah, but they probably need to be more consistent. Like right now, I think Europe has found a way to be really consistent at the highest level, whether it's us, Carmine, and BDS right now. Maybe not Liquid, but still, Liquid is able to turn it up when it matters. North America doesn't look ready yet for that, and I think recent results and recent major have kind of skewed the perspective, and the bracket and the way the bracket have developed kind of helped North America, because I think if you look at San Diego, I think no matter who was winning the semifinals between Liquid and Carmine was winning the event. So yeah, I think right now the best team in Europe is the best team in the world. But will that continue for 3 months? I don't know. I think the roster moves that NA have made are like interesting, but whether or not they're working, it is a bit to be seen yet. Because V1 has struggled. They've won, but they've also struggled. FaZe has struggled after the major as well. G2 is still struggling. Gen.G is struggling. There is no consistent team right now in North America, so it's a bit hard to see them, performing well at the next major. And I think it's fine for the region, because it's good to be, the outsider for once. But yeah, right now it's a bit hard to see any major threat coming from North America.
Rollers, thoughts?
I mean, like you said, 3 months is a long time, and I guess we'll see when it comes to the international if Zen starts choking. But my team, we just doing a bounce back from last split. We had the same thing happen, so and now I guess except we didn't win last regional, but that's besides the point. I think we gonna bounce back, and then internationally, I think V1's also a good shout to take down. As I said before, there's a reason why I picked the 3 disruptors. I think that's the way that you got to take down Vitality, which Carmine Corp does not demo at all, and they look more solid when they did start demoing. But I mean, we got to see on land. So
okay.
I mean, I think it's exciting for NA though. I just want to say that it could kind of be the perfect storm, given how open the major race is. The teams that make the major are going to be the teams in form. They are going to be performing. There's not that long after the final regional, best part of like a month, a little over, to lose any form. And you kind of know, I mean, I don't want to put pressure on FaZe, but the likes of FaZe, they should be making it probably as better than just 5th seed. And it's just kind of weird, complexity with a 6-point Spring Cup, but they're still top of the region. It's so open, and teams are going to find their stride in the Invitational.
Yeah, and again, with the way the seeding is going to work for the Boston Major, I feel like NA has a decent chance of like having teams going very deep, because with the way things have been worked out, EU is going to face EU again, NA is going to face EU again, very early in the tournament probably, if things end up as intended. So we will have deep cross-region matchups, and I think with the momentum, North America teams can be good. But does that mean they're up there with the best in Europe right now? I struggle to see that, honestly, because of the consistency we have in Europe right now.
That's really interesting.
What about you, Dad? Your team is over here struggling. He's one of the teams that that.
Which team of his? Which team?
Oh wait, yeah, that's right.
First of all,
hold on. Let me.
Don't
Which
like
one
that.
you?
I always rep my team. Okay, I got them on my wrist. Okay, don't do me like that. Don't try me.
I bet that NRG hat on the ground right now next to you.
I actually don't know where that has been. I've been looking for it, but I don't know where it's been. I've been trying to use it as a prop. I can't find it. I mean, look, y'all can sleep on Gen G Mobile 1 Racing all you want to. When the bounce back comes, I'll be right here waiting. In terms of everybody else, though, in NA, the race looks open, but I think this is one of those things too. You gotta take into account the month break that North American players are having, that they're like in the middle of right now, and then everybody should be able to bring their A game, or they're supposed to bring their A game come Spring Invitational. That'll be an interesting bracket, but I feel like if we go down to it, live event, top teams playing against each other, and a FaZe Clan team who definitely wants to improve and kind of erase the San Diego loss out of the history book, a Complexity team who saw how strong they were and knows that they can go the distance, V1 who's trying to get back into the conversation for Major and Worlds. There's a lot to play for in at least the top 5 in North America right now. Credit that we send the top 5 that we know are going to show up here in a live environment. That'll be one of the things I'll be really looking at for the Spring Invitational, but at least those 4 teams, they have a lot going on. And yeah, you're right. Consistency is a big thing, but we all know, all of you especially should know how it is when you get to those major days. You really got to show up on those days, that preparation. Yeah, that consistency can kind of pull through, but even for your team right now, you got the best team in Europe right now. You guys Zen hasn't been on that stage. You guys are gonna have to adjust to that.
No, but obviously you're right. Like, you have to perform on the day, but the thing is, like, I see those events are like if we're talking about who's the best team and who's the better region right now, we have to talk about, like, consistency at the top. So, even if NA ends up winning Worlds, for example, I do believe Europe is still going to be the better region, in 3 months, just because how the year has shaped up. But still, that doesn't mean NA cannot win an event, just like any other region.
But it's the most important event, Ferra. If NA wins
and
Worlds, that's the most important event. We can't just brush it down like it's like it doesn't matter that much.
No, it does matter, but it's like saying, if your team has 60% chance of winning against another, that still leaves 40% to lose. So the better team sometimes doesn't win. Will this mean by Worlds that NA will be better, and because they win the Worlds they'll be better? I don't know. That would depend on a lot of factors. Right now, with the consistency we have at the top, it's hard to see. It's hard to argue in favor of North America. That's what I mean.
Okay, I got a question. So, BDS winning Worlds, was it a fluke in your eyes? You're gonna say no because you're biased. Because you're biased. G2 should have won that, but they choked. They were the better team.
No, they weren't. I mean, both
Are you
had
serious?
won.
They were terrible. BDS was terrible until Worlds, and then they showed up.
What do you mean? BDS won 2 of the 3 regional events in spring, and they made the finals in the last one.
Bro,
they only struggle in the spring major. They won. They made the final of 3 spring regionals. They won 2 of them.
But when they got to LAN, they were terrible.
That's one LAN.
Nah, Ferra.
That's one LAN, and then they won another one. I don't know. Sometimes you're gonna fail. That's the way sports is. That's the way esports is. Sometimes you're gonna win. You're gonna be at an event, and you're not gonna perform. That's.
So even when G2 won the major, right? They won a major, and then BDS. You saying BDS won another one, right? So it was 1-1, and BDS then struggles, and then we go to Worlds, and then they win. Well, G2 was way more consistent throughout the whole season.
I mean, what way? Not
internationally,
but domestically matters as well. Like, if you win pretty much everything in Europe, that does mean
there was no comp in Europe.
All right.
Oh, see, you're biased. You're biased.
Oh
I mean, Moist won the spring event despite winning only one of the 3 regionals, right?
So if you
I
had
don't
two teams, you got comp. If there was a two-headed dragon in Europe at the time, that means
no.
Oh my goodness.
Moist. No, it's
Well,
not
who
that
else? Who else was
simple.
there, bro? Moist and BDS and who?
I mean, Carmine had a really strong run in the last split. That's at least 3 teams that were contending consistently for the title. Because you said G2, but what did G2 did at the spring major?
I mean, the real question is for all is that if one of these NA teams now shows up at Boston and wins, which I think is possible. We've seen the ceiling from FaZe, version 1, Complexity, and of course Gen G. Is it a fluke if one of those wins? Because I feel like they've all got a chance, but they've not been consistent, so surely it would be a fluke.
I mean, at the end of the day,
Ferra thinks it's a fluke.
No, at the end of the day, at the end of the day, if oh whoa,
there's Bates, he said, oh whoa.
I'm about tired of this, Ferra. Ferra, you're done yapping. You're done yap. Yeah, you better take a sip of water, because the factual man is here. The man in the arena has arrived, and I'm about tired of hearing you yap. I'm in the car, I'm on the way back, and you're just talking. Ferra, explain this to me. Riddle me this. You talk about consistency in EU and everything else in between. You got about 2 teams. You got Hogan mode, bro. That was a story. Hogan mode's finishing top 8. That's not consistency, Ferra. That's called inconsistency. You have no depth. You have no depth. In UW, you got 5 teams. You got y'all. Y'all are great. Y'all are great. You got Carmine. They're great.
Oh my God.
And then after that, you got a little drop off. Then you got BDS, Liquid, and you got Moist. After that, then maybe Oxygen sprinkle in.
Even that Oxygen's losing the guild. Oh, he froze.
I came out here spinning so much fire. Came out here spinning so much fire, my internet's broken. Listen, and then you're talking about inconsistency. You got first of all, you can't say V1's inconsistent. They only had so many tournaments together. You gotta give them some time. You gotta give them some time. Not everybody can hit the ground running like y'all did. I give you kudos to that. Congratulations, you're a great coach. You got the whiteboard out. You're doing everything else. You're scribbling on it. Zen's not listening to anything you say though. I don't know. You watch the replays, but he's just not looking at the screen. But
no worries.
but
he is listening. No worries.
But And so V1 came out in a little slow phase. Listen, phase Raul was off. He was celebrating his sister getting married. Were you there coaching? Raul?
I missed a couple games.
Okay, he missed a couple games. So listen, that's very big and important. Gen G, they're in a little bit of a slump right now. But to say that EU is just that much clearer than NA right now, that's just too much, Ferra. I'm not liking it. I'm not liking that sound.
Okay,
You mean to tell me that V1 can't beat y'all? Can V1 beat y'all?
Oh, they can.
Okay, exactly. So they can beat y'all. Can FaZe beat y'all?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of teams can beat us.
Oh, but you're not
Will
confident
they,
in them beating you.
will
Oh,
they?
okay.
Yeah.
Will they? Okay. Oh, okay. But see, that's where the question becomes a little. There's a little bit of nuance there. Of course, you're not gonna say they can beat you.
But I would say something because but you're not gonna like it. I feel like when you look at historically, I might be biased, but I feel like if you look at results historically, right? Europe has never missed an LCS LAN, ever.
A final?
You go back to season 1. LCS final, sorry. NA has missed multiple. And you can go back to just last year, Falcons Moist finals. I don't see an NA team in that. Outside of that, I feel like you guys, I mean, especially you, are doing a disservice to the region by consistently saying they're the better one when the facts are going against it, because
You saying we
I
can't?
feel like, I mean, one thing players have to understand, and that's something I try to make my players understand. It's like you can't be delusional about your weaknesses. If you keep saying to someone who's not the best, he's the best, he's not gonna work harder to be the best. By saying consistently that NA is the better region, whether it's true or not, but especially after 5, 6, 7 years of European domination internationally,
I mean, I
NA
appreciate
has
that,
won
but at that
3
point,
worlds, and NA has won 3 worlds, and 1 is season 1. Like, historically, Europe has been the better region, and the more time goes on, if you can't accept that, and you can't, go behind that fact. Any players and any teams are just gonna be like, all right.
Nah.
It's on the players.
Yeah.
Like, if the players are believing it at this point, it's kind of this fault. Like, you guys have to argue it.
But
You
I mean,
guys have to argue it because there's an argument to be made. But surely the players don't actually believe that NA is better, right? I feel like.
I do feel players are really, really young, and they're, reading a lot of social medias, and the fact that most podcasts, most of the analyst desk is NA biased because you have more people coming from NA, means that overall the community is gonna lean stronger on the side of NA.
Okay,
But then if you
wait,
keep saying NA is better, NA is better, NA is better, even though you keeps winning events, like I feel like there is a bit of a disconnection, and players have to work harder to earn that title.
I just want to go real quick.
Okay.
I've even said that EU was a better region overall, but that doesn't mean that they will always have the best team in the region.
Oh,
So
that's true.
I think their play style has dictated a lot of things. Even when Gen G came over, it was 2 European players who just started dominating North America. That was a clear sign that you guys just play a better game of Rocket League. You guys play more together as a team, and I was like, but we have. In my opinion, we have better individual talents. We have better individual talents across the whole board. So if we played better Rocket League, I guarantee you, and it would be better overall. But it's just selfish. So that's why we struggle.
Yeah, but I mean the fact that
It's better individual talents.
Somebody need to clip that. Somebody need to clip that.
Guys, he straight.
He said, "Whoa, that's a lot of information." He said, "That's a lot of information." Bro,
no, but I mean, Europeans have that mentality kind of thing. The fact that Gen G has 2 or 3. Right now North America has a lot of teams that don't have that many North American players, and some of them are at the top. Complexity is one, Gen G is one. Sure, NA has produced amazing team historically. I'm thinking, Prime Energy, I'm thinking Prime G2. But overall, Europe has always been able to produce, more of those teams. And the fact that it took so long for, especially you guys, to admit that BDS, which was the most dominant team ever, in Season X, and to say Europe was just so free that season. I kept hearing that season. Europe was so free. Europe was not. BDS was just so good, and they kept dominating. They didn't win the last event. Vitality did. Great for us. But still, they were so consistent, and they kept being good afterwards. And it took, just because COVID hit and we did not have international event for a long time, it took the first international event for everyone to admit, okay, maybe BDS was actually good. But Europeans knew that for a long time. It's just, you had to face the fact at some point. If a team is able to dominate that long a region, they're really, really good. And Europe has produced those teams way more consistently than North America.
Okay, it's a
forever.
Oh gosh. Okay, Johnny boy. Listen, I understand. You talk to Johnny. You talk to Johnny. He's been gassing you up or something like that. Listen, I think it's a both and conversation. When BDS was dominating, I wasn't a believer in Europe because that's when a whole bunch of people in RCSX that were good, that were all right to good in EU. A lot of those players aren't even near the top right now. I think that's very imperative.
You don't need to.
I mean, I was a player.
Just because I made an RLCSX.
Okay,
region,
well, Lacto, I'm be honest. I didn't know you were still playing in RLCSX, man. I thought you were done in season 9. But the point I'm making is like a lot of those players EU. I think it's more than fair to say EU at the top in RLCSX was BDS dominant. For consistency, for everyone to say they had a couple teams below that were all right to good. Y'all played great in the RLCSX championship. I think y'all popped off. That was completely different vitality team. Y'all have been looking very mid.
I mean,
Very
you
mid.
say you, but back then I was playing on a different roster that actually.
Oh
made
wait,
the
never mind. So I don't even look. I don't even remember who's playing no more. And so, and then that was a long time ago. So then,
yeah, a very long time ago.
and then
Oxygen.
so now, what I'm talking about, because I don't think anybody on here nowadays screams because we got humbled, unfortunately, because G2 lost. But I don't think anybody nowadays on here. I think it's just a little propaganda by people who don't be listening. We just go about saying NA is just better. I don't think any of us do that. I think we recognize how great EU is, more so than we ever have. And we'll admit it. Vitality probably best team in the world. Carmine arguably second best team in the world. You want to put BDS in there, third, fourth, fifth, Liquid in there, like that's fine. But we're talking like overall, because there's been this conversation about EU depth, and this is where I distance myself. Because when you got SAM teams moving over, when you got people from EU moving over, whatever you want to call it, NA just has so many teams 1 through 8, in my opinion, that can really do some damage, especially if they all can make the major. EU, I don't think y'all got that. And I'm be honest, I don't think y'all have had it. I think y'all always have like two of the great teams. Like last year, take example. Last year, riddle me this. Last year, EU to me was BDS. Once they picked up Seiko, especially, and then it was Moist. No, everybody else, it just felt like, okay, they have a good tournament. It never really felt like anybody else could do something, especially at the major. Like you weren't gonna go into a major and pick 2 other teams to win that. But in NA, I could have picked G2, I could have picked FaZe, and it was kind of like the same thing. But then I'll go next part, I'll go an NA team before I go EU team, or maybe I'll go Furia above that. You know what I'm saying? I think they're pretty evil. I think they're pretty equal.
But then why was the final of the spring major without NA teams? You know, it's in terms of results.
Because Moist was one of those teams, though. Moist was one of the teams that was the best in the game. Moist was top 3.
Yeah, and Carmine was top 4 or something, right? Only the best North America at that tournament team was V1, and I don't even think you can.
They finished third, huh?
Yeah, I think they finished third. Yeah.
No, they finished top 8.
Yeah.
They lost to
No,
FaZe.
But, and overall, I think
spring. Oh yeah. Sorry, I was like
overall, you want to talk about depth, but I think right now Europe is in a very specific situation where a lot of extremely talented players are not playing. They're on the bench. They're not playing. They will be playing next season, and Europe will find another depth again. But right now, and even right now, I do feel there is depth. It's just that you are not accustomed to see some of the players, and you just feel, they're new, so obviously they're not as good. Some of them, I mean, obviously, when I see the regionals and I see some teams making top 6, it's a bit surprising. But with the way brackets work and stuff, that can happen. It's not like they're winning the event or they're not, making top 3 or whatever. That can happen. That has always happened in Europe. And yeah, right now, but we don't have maybe as much depth as we have as we had in the previous splits. But it's gonna come again because we have a lot of talent waiting on the side, and that are gonna come back playing, next season anyway.
I can see that because they definitely do have more talent than us as individuals. Roll, I was with you on and they having more talent about 2 years ago. They passed us up. The EU is the clear talent. They develop talent. I don't know what we do over here. But over there, they know what they're doing in terms of developing. And, yeah, they got it going on. They definitely have more talent individually.
I mean, it was kind of a fair take, though, from Rodiz. After saying, sure, the perspective that NA have more talent, he then gave me something that I just outright wanted to put in swishy, fancy black and white writing and put like on Pinterest, which was, if they just played better Rocket League, we'd be better, And frankly, that just broke it down perfectly for me. When thinking about NA, literally burnt the kitchen. That's how beautiful that take was. I mean, I can sort of see where it came from, though. If you look through a different perspective, you've got Guild beating Oxygen and making that top 6, which I think you were referring to, Ferra. On another perspective, we could just say, look at that depth from Europe. Wow. Or you could just say, wow, Oxygen have really fallen off. But Oxygen would still go on to progress through the lower bracket and take Moist all the way to Game 7. Had that series gone the other way, we'd be looking at a very different standing still. Like, everything is still on coin edges. Like, it's that thin. And that's why I feel like it's still possible that EU get a bit embarrassed at the major.
I think it's very even.
NA teams with all there are these NA teams with that talent still.
I think it's even. But then I can already hear Johnny Boy saying that Johnny, I can already hear people like Johnny, maybe even Ferra saying, oh no, because if it was clear that V1 or G2 is just that much better, I wouldn't say it's even. Nah, it's even. It's just even. I think I'll give the edge to EU right now. I think that's EU's best region. After that, NA, mean, and everything else, there's a little bit behind. That's my honest opinions.
Only thing I wanted to say was about the delusion take, because to me now we have a lot of North American commentators, and I already know right now, but outside of us three here, they're not going to be biased toward the region.
I'm the most unbiased person on the talent team.
Okay, you are.
Yeah, okay.
But in terms of everybody else, we could put all them on here, and they will all hop on the Vitality train, the EU train, as quickly as possible. So I don't know about all that. I don't think they're that deluded. In terms of us, I think that's selective hearing. Because sometimes, everyone always hears when we say the outlandish stuff, but they never hear when we give people props and credit. It's always, oh, they said this. Oh, X player didn't live up to the hype. Let me make a YouTube video about that. Woo, woo, woo.
I know, making money off of us. That's crazy.
Whenever we say, oh, yeah, this team is good. This team is radio silent. It's like y'all didn't hear
we
that
hear
part.
this all the time.
Y'all didn't
You
hear
can't
that
put that
part.
in a thumbnail, Daz. You can't put that in a thumbnail. though.
Right,
You know how it
right.
works.
So I'm just stating that. Whatever. Blah, blah, blah. Yap, move on.
I mean, my point was just being, overseeing, the long-term
I like
arguments
your
I've
point.
seen about
I like your
how
point.
NA has always been on the level of EU, but historically it's just not true. And
Mhm.
NA has produced amazing teams, Energy, G2 by the past, FaZe recently. But the fact that we keep hearing the three regions are equal, I feel like right now it's not really the case.
I like your
Europe
point.
is slightly stronger, and and accepting this will make North America stronger because they will work harder to reach us. So.
I like that point. Atomic, you're terrible. And G2, y'all need to get it together. Atomic's no longer nowhere near the best player in the world. No, not even close. Atomic, you heard me right here.
Oh, wait,
I need you to go ball out, man. I need you.
Wait, so we need T-Base's top 5 players right now.
Top
Go ahead,
5 players
T-Base.
in the world.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
let's
my
go.
top 5
segment.
players in the world is Vatira, it's Zen, it's Alpha, it's Monkey Mood, and it's Atto. There we go. Top 5 EU. Top 5 EU. NA, all
I'm
y'all
about to
are
go to
just
bed.
absolutely terrible players.
He named 5
None of y'all are
good
good. Y'all
players.
better get
I'm
on
about
your
to go to
spine.
bed.
EU's clear.
What happened to this guy, bro? Who is him?
EU's clear. Listen, I'm taking Ferra's advice. Ferra's
I'm taking Ferra's advice.
Take his temperature.
Oh my
seriously.
goodness.
What just happened?
I mean, honestly, if you look at 2 of the 3 World Championship NA has won, it was by underdog teams, So maybe that's the solution.
Yeah, maybe it is. Yep. NA,
That
we're
is
always behind.
insane.
We need to
That
stay
is
humble.
insane.
Keep our heads down, stay humble. EU's just better than us. Simple and plain.
There you go.
Simple and plain.
There you go.
I don't know if they could put that on a thumbnail, Bates. We gotta. I don't know. They're gonna be like T-Bates.
Why a thumbnail? I'm being completely serious.
I know. I know. Wow. Okay. I'll let the chat take some time to process that. We're gonna go to No Ceilings, which is Moist taking down Liquid and El Splashico rematch. Moist currently at 24 points for the spring split. We got the Moist highlight package. And Ferra, have you played this Moist team over the course of the spring split? What are your thoughts on them?
I mean, we swept them the last regional. I think they're a bit behind. They're a good team. I think we have their number right now. Genuinely, we've beaten in an online tournament. We've beaten them again this weekend. They're a good team, but I think they're lacking a bit something. That's why I said earlier, that there is a top 4 right now. I don't count Most in it. I think Most is the probably clear top 5, the 5th team in Europe, but I think they're a bit behind compared to the other 4. They did beat Liquid, which to me was a bit of a surprise, but I think they're a bit behind the current top 4.
I mean, I think it's fair when you consider that, that last regional, it was game 7 overtime. I bring it up again. Oxygen could have won that against Moist, and we wouldn't be anywhere near as down on Oxygen if they had have, and Moist would have been in such a scarier spot going into Regional 3 of this split, the Invitational. They have looked great, but it is definitely a silver lining, and that Vitality series, you know, they took a timeout and they just got shut out twice, and it was a 4-0. They only scored 2 goals in the whole series. Like, it's a double-edged sword, this team.
Yeah, they got a little close. That even that Oxygen series, I put 50,000 channel points down on Oxygen right there too, just because the odds were just that great. It was like 80% Moist. I wanted the odds. I wanted to be 200. I want to have 250,000 points, channel points. It didn't work out for me though. Of course, Joyo ended up getting a W right there. But I mean, they're a good team. I think they have room to improve, and I'm along with Ferra's thought process where there's a top 4 and then Moist 5, and then like Oxygen like a 6. But Moist definitely has some room to improve in order to become like a consistent top 4.
It's even pretty close, I think, with the teams below them. I mean, we saw that this weekend with Oxygen almost beating them. I think they are right now in a great position to make the major, but I also feel like, you know, it can get scary. Like, especially when you have, you know, some players who have very little experience on LAN on their roster and, you know, on qualifying for LAN. I'm thinking about GC, I'm thinking about Cash, who's always struggled with the third regional kind of thing. They're in a great position, but they can mess this up, and other teams below them can, you know, take that spot away from them. So they have to be really careful.
Yeah, I could see that too. On the other side of it, you know, we're talking about Moist and we're talking about Oxygen. The biggest thing here for Oxygen is, are Oxygen no longer contenders without Rise? Oxygen are currently at 17 points to split. They got to make a run. We'll do scenarios next week for sure, but it's not really looking good for them. They need to win and they need help, basically. What's the initial takes about Oxygen's chances of making the major? I just want to go around the room and start with Raul.
No, they're not going to make the major. I don't think this team is going to be consistent enough to make the major. And yeah, I mean, I have a question after everybody else goes, but yeah, that's basic.
I mean, it's just tough, so I guess not. I mean, they keep losing close series, but I think if they improve, they could have an outside chance looking in at doing some damage at the World Championship. They're right there, losing game 7s to Moist, losing who they lose to in the first regional. They lost like a game 5, game 7 to somebody, BDS or some along those type of lines. They're right there. They just got to work on a couple things.
Yeah, it was BDS lower bracket round 2. Lacto?
I'll entertain the thought, but like you say, so much has got to go their way now. It would have been such a different scenario had that been the 4-point swing, right? Where Moist would have been on 22, I think it would have been, and Oxygen would have been on 19 instead of 17. Now they pretty much need a top 3 and to beat out Moist and PSG by 2 rounds, which, you know, some of the players and ex-Evil Geniuses in Tundra, they've got a habit of not performing in Regional 3. It is possible. It's just, I don't know whether I think Oxygen can get top 3. It means they've got to be at least one of BDS, Liquid, Carmine, Vitality, probably 2. Like, I can't see it now.
Yeah, it's gonna be really hard, and I think their main struggle is not really, you know, who they're losing to in the lower bracket, is who they're losing to in the upper. They've been upset, I think, twice in a row. They can be good, but losing to those teams just makes things so much harder for them. Yeah, they need to be more consistent against, you know, teams that are considered weaker than them in order to just even have a chance to make it. Otherwise, they just won't make it.
Spring Open, they got swept by Hogan Mode. They sent them to the lower bracket. And then we talked about the Game 5 loss to BDS. And then in upper bracket quarterfinals, they lost to 5 to Guild. And then they went all the way to going to that Game 7 with Moist in lower bracket quarterfinals before they exited the tournament. I'm saying no. It's the inconsistency at the end of the day for me. I think the team has a lot of potential, but they're not showing it right now. So that's where I'm at with Oxygen.
What's this question you had, man?
Yeah, Raul.
My biggest question for Oxygen for y'all is like, Why? So we had Oxygen before with Oli. When they pulled up to the major, they were actually a pretty good team. Like they were taking games consistently, and I honestly, like a lot of people saying they got upset. Oli performed on LAN. So why drop Oli if you're gonna pick up Rise, and then Rise is complaining that they not trying enough, and can't be a team that they can win on, when everybody thought this team was gonna be a super team, just to drop, like, Rise leaves then. So like where do you think it all went wrong, team dynamic wise, that they just trolled when they had Rise? Like they had potential. Like, why drop Oli if you're just gonna troll with Rise?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know to answer that question.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they've done a great run with Oli for a while. I think they just saw Rise as an upgrade and just went for it, but didn't, realize I don't know what happened, behind the scenes, really. So maybe some internet conflicts, I don't know, but still, when you make a change like that, you have to, even work harder. Whether or not that was the case, I don't know. And yeah, it's weird. It's a bit weird.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic to me because there were rumors of internal conflicts at San Diego, but the thing about it was they were all friends. So I didn't understand that. So that was a little weird to me.
I mean, being friends and being, in a competitive team is
two completely different things.
Yeah, I mean, and usually, when things will get rough, the friendship is not gonna help save that. If you start losing, you're not gonna be friends a very long time unless you know how to solve things up. And I think that's where they struggle with. I guess. I assume. I don't know. I assume.
Okay.
I mean, it's kind of Ferra's fault though. It had to have been the elimination to Vitality, right? At the major, the 3-1 loss, the game 1 overtime, as well. Just starting that series on a bad note, and I don't know. It was a bit of an identity crisis, when Rise left, Rise kicked, and then you bring in EXO, best available player, and then things don't start hot, and that's when you start to question yourself and your ability as a player. Not just was the move right for us, but am I as good as I thought? And it takes a bit of spiraling like that as a player before you can sort of reverse the process and work your way back up. It's tough.
Yeah.
Does that come from personal experience?
No, because I never started getting on the way back up, to be honest, Space. I just continued down. But I knew I know what I needed to do. And the good thing is for Oxygen is I think they've certainly stabilized at least. So we know they've still got the talent. So
they stabilized. I want to add on the roles thing real quick because they weren't the only team that made a move that was quote unquote considered an upgrade in Europe. G1 did when they kicked Mark for Oli, and now there's no shot. Like, at least to me, there's no shot they're making the major here. We don't even talk about them anymore. They finished in the same spot 2 events in a row, and it's just one of those things again where you look at it and you're just like, okay, you're starting to question stuff. Why did this happen? You went from being a major contending team to getting knocked out lower round 2 back to back. It's one of those things that is just kind of perplexing when you look at it. That being said, we will see which teams in Europe do qualify for the spring major next week. And then, of course, we're going to talk about scenarios and things like that into the next week. We're going to move on and talk about South America and other things. But Ferra, thank you so much for joining us here for the show today. We want to obviously get your thoughts on things and see how things around Europe and around the world. And we really appreciate you coming on and definitely giving us your takes.
I mean, thanks for having me. That was great fun.
Ah, man, he can't see the FT top 10. He'll have to comment on us elsewhere. We'll see if he's happy where Vitality is.
Oh gosh, that's gonna be.
I wonder.
I don't even know if he wants to see it. So.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, is Liquid gonna be in it, or is?
Bruh. I hope so.
I think Liquid might make it this time around.
I hope Liquid's. I'm here now. I hope Liquid's in there, bro. I'm dipping out the scene if Liquid's not on that list.
I just said I'm here like his one vote made something different, bro. They're supposed to be on the list, bro. Whether or not you're here or not, it's all about transferring the information over.
I ain't gonna lie, he said that. And I was like, did I put him on my list? I think I did. Ferra, thank you for your time. Thanks for joining us on the show. Congrats on all the recent wins, and we of course wish you the best moving forward.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
All right, we're down to 4. Tylacto, strap in. You're with us for the rest of the show. Listen, we're approaching our cable network time. Don't look at the clock. Right now, look at the screen. South America is what we're talking about right now. Ninjas in Pajamas win the CM Spring Cup. Crew got swept by W7M Esports in the lower finals. We got an NIP package to kind of talk about. Tylacto, you been watching South America Rocket League?
I mean, I have to watch it in the morning in the VODs, so I tend to just quickly go through the VODs. It's just fantastic. Ever since Secret re-entered the scene, obviously, I had a bit of a soft spot. It's far from the team that shock upset BDS at the Spring Major last year. Still can't believe that series quite happened.
Interesting.
But it's now weird to see Secret struggling. It's nice, you know. It feels like there is so much talent in the South American region, and it's not just inside the top 3 or 4 teams. I mean, even look at teams like ERA, this most recent lower bracket. They could have won that Game 7 against W7M, and it could have been them making a run all the way to grand finals. Like, people cannot sleep on South America, and it's why I wanted to ask how Ferra felt about if he potentially runs into a team from Sam with Vitality. Because
I don't think he's concerned.
they're not... yeah, sure, but you can't sleep on them, Bates. You know, that's the thing, right? If you do your prep, you shouldn't be concerned. But if you don't give them the respect, they are going to embarrass some teams.
It could.
Yeah.
They could also just flop.
Yeah, but
How many times has that
one
happened?
of them usually does, but like, there's always a Sam team that's performed. When's the last time Sam bombed out of a LAN?
It hasn't happened in a minute.
It's
They always pull up. They're always discredited. There's always teams that just overlook them, and then they come and smack you in the face.
Do you feel like there's some bracket magic there?
Yeah.
Always? There's always bracket magic?
There's always a little bit of bracket magic in that. There's ability to avoid people. I don't think necessarily it's going to be the same case this time around. But I do think that Crew, even if Ninjas Pajamas won, I still think Crew's the best team in Sam. I think they had a bad day.
That's fair. I mean, you got to remember the top of points in Sam will play Mina. So that's going to be a fantastic matchup where one of them makes it to quarterfinals anyway and probably plays either EU2 or NA5. I think it is.
Right now, points 44 for Crew, 41 for Ninjas in Pajamas. Secret just behind with 37, and W7M Esports with 35. And Era with 31, but it kind of True Neutral's in that conversation because they can obviously make it if they have help. They're at 26. It's not really looking too good for them. Everybody else, there's no chance of them making the Spring Major. Only 2 teams from Sam can go to Boston, and we'll find out what that looks like very soon. But yeah, race still kind of tight as ever over there on the side of Sam. There's a question: is this a case of depth or inconsistency with Crew beating W7M for 1 upper semis, or I guess with W7M and their performance as well? I think you kind of alluded to it a little bit, Tylacto. We're gonna run the W7M package. What do you think?
I mean, I just think this is such an exciting team, especially with Royals sort of coming in. He's got so much experience, and that's when you ask about the depth, right? It's definitely depth. It's not just an upset because you see the changeover in teams, and it's something that maybe it's a European perspective, but a high changeover in teams that actually make the regionals is almost certainly, you know, an indicator of depth, and we see that so much with South America, and there's very few players who have been able to hold on and stay at the top unless they've moved to NA. You know, it's tough. NA still has NRG making top 4s, but we shouldn't talk about NA because we're here to talk about Sam. And the fact that Crew, who are meant to be the best team in the region, I agree in that on paper they still should be. Bates, you know, you can see where W7M had them in this series, and there are a number of teams, I'd say top 6 in Sam, are all capable of beating each other on their day.
That defense was abysmal. A lot of the goals in these packages don't matter region. Defense, I'm just shaking my head. What are you doing? I will say that it is a case of depth because Sam, naturally, if you still had complexity and Furia, we would be talking about 4 or 5 teams that are major contenders, that are world championship contenders that could do some damage. That region is the third best region in RLCS. It goes EUN, EUNA, SAM, in my estimation right now. And with MENA probably coming in at 4. And they got a lot of teams. They have a lot of teams. I'm waiting for the day where they have more major spots or just more incentive for those great teams to stay in SAM. So rather than coming out to NA, 'cause I think also it just has they have the ability to then galvanize the region, increase that fan base, increase that viewership, and increase that engagement. More people will watch SAM now if Furia had stayed, if Complexity, if True Neutral originally had stayed. More people would tune into that, and that would just don't be more eyeballs. Every single time they make a name for themselves, though, they come to NA. And there's a lot of players that are really mechanical there that can really upset and make things happen. And they have high peaks. They have high peaks. Now, naturally, going with that, I think this is why a lot of people say I hate on them. Naturally, going with that, when you lose those great teams that have defined themselves and have proven themselves throughout the year, there's going to be turnover, but it's not going to happen as fast as people think. So when Crew and Secret and Crew both had good runs so far, Secret, I think, was a little bit of an anomaly. Easier bracket, and they were playing great defense. That's why I was surprised when Crew has overtaken them. Secrets were playing a lot of defense as of late, and that's not going to necessarily get the W's. Crew is playing more offense, so they're getting a little bit better. I think naturally, as it keeps going along, they're going to be the team that could finish top 8 at the World Championship, and I think they'll be very much so in that conversation.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's depth, and we've seen this time and time again where South American teams always show up, and there's always this other team that just comes out of nowhere and they prove themselves at a LAN. South America's just getting better and better. It's just depth.
Yeah. Then we're all in agreement on that one in terms of Sam depth. We'll see which 2 teams represent South America in Boston soon, and we'll talk about that once it happens. Speaking of Boston, let's shift over to MENA to see who will represent MENA in Boston, because right now we got a race going on here in the Middle East. Rule 1, Falcons or Twisted Minds. Pick your teams. Pick how you feel. Like,
Yeah, got Twisted Minds in there.
I mean,
because they have 41 points
I know,
or
that's what I'm
39
saying.
points or something.
Oh, we got Senzo. Senzo said, "All right, bet. Hold on, I'm gonna create my own little dynasty over here." And,
I'm still
I'ma
of the
compete with
mindset
top,
that
you know what I'm
Senzo
saying?
should have never left Falcons, but that's just me. I don't know how other people think about that. Rule. It's
Senzo
winner take
on
all.
fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm just still all about trying to envision the timeline where everyone's talking about Rule 1 and Falcons. What if Twisted
Mine's just
It's not going to happen. But it's not impossible. It actually isn't.
We're basically saying that Twisted Minds has to beat Falcons and Rule 1 in the same weekend.
Yeah, they've beaten them both.
They've done both,
It's
yeah.
not impossible.
No, but they have to
the
win.
safe money is, it's got to be Falcons, right? I mean, surely we're in agreement.
Oh, I'm
here.
going
They've done it
Falcons.
before.
I'm going with the Falcons.
Yeah.
Now,
I'm
basically,
rolling with
Second they won that
flip-flopping.
game 7, and Rule 1 just dropped out of lowers. Like, for me, it's going to be tough for them to come back.
Yeah, I think that's a little telling. Rule 1, all the cards. Falcons. They passed over the breakfast, and you didn't finish it. The plate was not clean. That's the way I envisioned that. You left some crumbs, and in Falcons they had a little bit of crumbs they could eat. They got a little more energy, and now they're right back in the running. And I don't think you give a team like that a second chance. And I think the Falcons, they're still the kings of MENA. Rule 1, they're right there with them. And I think, to me, the distinction between the two was that Falcons have been getting that international LAN experience. Rule 1 hasn't. So when the pressure gets tight, when the land's on the line, Falcons, they know how to do it. They've done it before. They've made it every single time. Rule 1 has yet to do it. It's going to be hard to beat a team in that, such as Falcons, in that type of moment. I got Falcons.
Glad to see you flip-flopping here, Bates.
I didn't flip-flop.
Yeah, you did. You picked Rule 1 earlier this split. You picked Rule 1. You said
No, I picked Falcons initially.
And then you switch to Rule 1.
Then
and
I
then you
switched
switched to Rule 1. So you're
Well,
flip-flopping.
but I said that sadly, though, because I didn't believe that Rule 1 was the best team. I thought Falcons threw. And I said, Rule 1, they made the grand finals for the past 7 of them. Surely they don't throw
Surely
it,
they
right?
make it, right? So you had Rule
Surely they
1,
don't
and
throw
now
it.
you're taking
And
Falcons
then all
back.
of a sudden they forget how to
so
make
by
a grand final.
definition,
I
you
can't
are
predict that.
flip-flopping.
I went with logic. I
I
didn't
can't
flip.
predict that. But guess who did? I did. And I stayed with the Falcons, who fly. It's sore. Yeah,
said,
Rule One
"I
left a
did."
little food on the plate, and now the Falcons picking it back up. This is exactly, it was telling. It was gonna happen. These
It was not telling. You could not predict
three
this.
young guys.
Stop it.
Well, I did.
Stop it.
I did.
You
How can
there's no
well,
reason for you to
how can you
predict
go
it,
with the proofs in the pudding? I did.
Wait, this is wrong. This is wrong right now. Yeah, I knew Falcons would bounce back. Like we saw them. Like y'all was going.
No, it's not
y'all
about
was doing all that
Falcons.
flip flop.
He knew Rule 1 was gonna throw. He knew Rule 1 was gonna throw.
Everybody
Apparently.
thought it was on the Rule 1 train. I stuck with my boys Falcons. Now y'all just finally seeing what I see. So
Yep. And now you coming over to join the dark side. It's okay.
Stop it.
It's okay.
Stop it.
We knew what was gonna happen.
no,
Wait, should you
You
go?
need a moment.
no, we
don't.
do
No.
this. This is what we do. I'm staying with Rule 1 though. I think I agree. Falcons are the kings of MENA. I'm not denying that, but I feel like it's time for some fresh faces to represent MENA on the stage. I think it would also kind of be good for their region internationally if Rule 1 makes it too, just for them to have more land experience come World
Yeah, it'll
Championship.
be good for the region.
Yeah, and I think
They gotta earn it.
But they gotta earn it though.
And
Falcons ain't gonna let them have it.
And I believe in them. I believe in them. So I'm gonna go Rule 1 on this one. Tylacto, did you pick? Did you pick?
He did. He picked Falcons.
You picked
Yeah,
Falcons.
I said straight away.
All right.
I do think if Rule 1 makes it, that they'll have a better run. Like I think they'll catch a lot of teams by surprise.
Yeah. We are 20 hours, 30 minutes away from kickoff for the MENA Invitational.
Shout out Liquipedia for that.
Yep. Also, shout out Sky, who works behind the scenes for that. She gave us a fun fact before we started the show today, saying the reason why they start on Thursdays is because technically their weekend is Friday and Saturday. Sunday is the start of a new week, so that's one of the reasons why they end up starting those on Thursday. So, thanks, Sky, for the fun fact. And yes, that'll be really interesting. We'll keep it kind of like locked in on all the other stuff going on this weekend to see which one of those teams represents the Middle East and Boston. Speaking of other representation, let's shift to OCE because it's just about as crazy over there too. It's a three-way tie right now at OCE. Ground Zero, Power, Pioneers, all sitting at 44 points. Two of those teams can make it to Boston. As we're gonna do our magic, I think maybe. Like, are we gonna show the standings? I don't know. That's one of the beauties of live production. That won't kick
It's just
off
perfect.
until for another day and 12 hours away. How are we feeling about OCE? Give me your two teams you got representing them in Boston, Tylacto.
It's got to be Pioneers, right? The Pioneers recovery.
They play with a
I
sub
feel
though.
sad. Yeah, but it doesn't matter
Had to be
because
another
they're
buff.
still going to be at least they're going to at least be top 3 even when they show up to the Invitational. I'm really sad because I'm worried that Power aren't going to make it, and I want Power to make it. So I'm going to say Power as well. Not that I don't like Ground Zero. I just can't see Power slip like this again.
Well, I got Power. I still believe Amphis is the best player in that region. And then behind that, I got give me Ground Zero. Give me Power and Ground Zero. Give me Power and Ground Zero. That's what I'm rolling with.
What?
That's what I'm rolling with. Power and Ground Zero. Give me those
Crazy.
two. Give me
Ground
those
Zero
two.
just got 4-0'd by a sub.
Okay, listen. Pioneers had a buff.
A buff? What buff? A sub buff?
Yeah.
That's a thing?
It is.
Okay, the last time that was a thing was Turbo was still playing. All right, that is not. I don't know if that's congruent with all regions here, but I'm gonna take Pioneers and Ground Zero. I don't think Power makes it here.
That's the fair take, right? Surely. I mean, not that I agreed with it, but Daz, I don't know how you feel.
Give me Power or Pioneers. I'll do Power Pioneers on that one.
To OCE. Actually having 3 teams to pick from for once. Congratulations, OCE. Now, can any of them do anything on land? That's the question.
That's a real question.
I'm picking Power because I just believe that Power has the best chance of doing something at land.
I agree. I agree with that.
That's fair.
There you go.
I just feel like they've had the 3 teams, but I agree they're going to do better this time because it's quite difficult for them to do worse than last time.
Yeah.
It's kind of like EU and CRL.
We're not meant to talk about that yet. But
Oh,
that
we're getting there.
segment's,
It's there. It's
we're
right
getting
there.
there. We're getting there.
long
We're
We're
way
getting there.
away.
We're getting there.
Obviously-
It's not that far away.
Obviously, you guys know we are over our cable network slot, but there are some things that we just have to get to over the course of this stream. It's going to be a little bit of a tone shift here because this is something we need to talk about, and that is JKnaps. Poppin' Naps made a tweet discussing what had happened to JKnaps basically, actually, we have the tweet here. I can just read it out. This is from Papa Naps. Sad day in the Napman house as a result of a wildfire. JKnaps and Jeff, who's JKnaps' brother, house was completely destroyed. Jeff and Jacob were evacuated with just the clothing on their backs and family pets. All their possessions and family treasures were lost, all safe. So, unfortunate for JKnaps. Glad he's safe and everything, but that is definitely something that, you know, we want to bring attention to and talk about, because that is, it's just very sad, just in general, just for something to happen like that to JKnaps. So, of course, we send our love and support, and definitely want to give you guys a chance to speak on that if you want to.
I just want to say everybody needs to support the Naps family. Throw some hearts in the chat. One of the legends of the game, one of the goats of the game. You can arguably put him on the Mount Rushmore, even though he doesn't have a world championship ring. He's got a whole bunch of other rings, a whole bunch of other championships underneath his belt. And I mean, and Rocket League is all community. We're all family. Something happens to any of us, I would expect all of us to join together and band together and just really show Naps and his family some love. Because, I mean, I can only imagine. I like, there's just little things that you accumulate over time, little things that really matter. And back in Louisiana, back in 2016, there was a massive flood that occurred, took out a lot of people's houses. I was luckily spared, but I know how that feels. I know how that affects families, and just really show that their family knows the support. They're some of the best people in the community. And it's not just about what Naps does on the pitch, he does what he does off the pitch. Great leader, great mentor, and a great advocate for Rocket League, and his family. They embody that in every other way. So much love to JKnaps.
Yeah. I mean, it's important. It's terrifying when you think about the wildfires, Alberta, Nova Scotia too. It's so easy to forget that, you know, we talk about these players, we watch them play. They're real people too, and it's important people know about this because context and their lives matter, you know, and it's things like this that, like Base Riley says, we need to come together as a community, and it's important people know to understand, because the real world is out there and it's scary.
Yeah. Like, if you ever met the Naps family in person at LANs and stuff, you would know that they're always like the most genuine people. They're so kind at heart. So, like, reciprocate energy as a community. We gotta send love to them, man. I'm wishing them the best.
Yeah, exactly. I can't add on to anything else that you guys said. You guys are definitely on top of it. Rocket League's a family. We're all here. We're sending our love and support to JKnaps and just doing as much as we can to support them moving forward. And of course, we wish that for JKnaps and everything, you know, they're able to just kind of recover in a safe and healthy manner at their own pace. Thankfully too for Naps as well, you know, a lot this extended kind of break due to CRL and other things gives him a little bit more time to really kind of process that all. So unfortunate circumstance, but I'm just glad that he's safe and okay and has that time to kind of process that.
Yep, that's the most important part of it all.
Yep. So yeah, make sure if you guys interact with them, just, you know, just show them some love their way and some support if and where you can. We're gonna shift back though into something. It's the First Touch Top 10, which, as we all know, has been very dramatic over the course of this split, and it's been updated a lot. We're gonna see whether or not Liquid made the list here. Tylacto, you're gonna be joining us. We got the cams here. We're gonna be sitting there on the side as we unveil the top 10. Do we troll? I don't know.
Wait. Hold on, before we unveil the top 10, chat, does Liquid make the list? One is in the chat if Liquid makes the list, or two if they don't.
Well, at least
there's not gonna be the single two.
At least we got a Chronic at the bottom. Like, they're here.
We got a Chronic. Well, we got some Liquid representation.
They're here.
We got me. We made sure to make sure Liquid makes it.
Oh Lord.
All right, DeMar. Let's see what the FT top 10 is looking like. Remember, the FT top 10 list is fluid. It switches up every single 2 weeks. We watched through the whole entire RLCS.
Number
after
10 is
the Spring
Moist.
Cup, and then we throw the list up together. It's always gonna change. It's always changing.
Tylacto already losing his mind. Moist at 10.
I just want to say I was not a part of any of these averages. Just disclaimer.
SSG at number 9. Not bad for SSG. Complexity at 8. I'm actually kind of surprised at 8. Complexity at 8. Gen G at 7.
What's happening here?
What's it? 6. BDS at 6. Wait, is Liquid on the list?
Liquid's not here again. No.
Number 5, version 1.
Interesting.
It actually put a chronic.
Wait, I'm
what
doing
is
the math.
happening?
Hey, we got Liquid at 4.
They didn't make the list last time, but they're top 4.
We got. I feel like-
Wait. They had a worse result, and they're higher. They're actually on the list and 4th.
It's respectable. I feel like FaZe at 3. Vitality, Carmine. Okay.
Carmine 2nd, Vitality 1st.
Carmine 2. And Vitality at 1. Chad, did we do it? I ain't gonna lie, this might be the best list yet. We didn't have a Mina
better.
team though.
Ty said it's better. Ty, what would you change?
Yeah, what would your list look
it's
like?
definitely better than last time. You know, you can argue about
Low
the
bar,
top 5.
Jayski's insane.
The top 2 is definitely right. For me, I think I probably slide Gen G from 7 to 9. I don't know if putting Moist there is fair. You know, just what to say, I'm a huge Moist fan. I love that team. I love the players on that team, and maybe that's why I'm harsher on them. But I don't think they're that convincing enough that they should be right there at number 10. The question then becomes, who do you put them in their place? You know, do you put like a Falcons or an Optic? And there is a fair argument for them. So I feel like, honestly, that 10th spot might be one of the most difficult ones on the list to decide.
Oh, wait.
Okay.
Everyone, real quick, smile for the screenshot.
No.
All right, we're good.
I was not smiling.
That's
I'm not
fine.
gonna smile for the screenshot.
I just need.
I will say, I think the list is alright. It's a little off though. It's just no way Liquid's
He doesn't
4.
see G2 up there.
There's no way Liquid's 4. Liquid's got to move down some. Version 1 needs to move up. V1 needs to be 4. I like that. Complexity behind Gen G. I would put BDS a little lower. I put Liquid a little lower. I move Gen G and complexity up. Yeah, that's what I
You
would
can't
do.
put Gen G up. You know, I think it's fine. You can shift version 1 into 4 and put Liquid down, but like Gen G it just feels weird having them above complexity and space station. But maybe
I wouldn't
maybe I'm
have Gen G
disrespecting
above
their past
complexity,
result.
but I think Gen G having a bad split is SSG's on the come up a little bit. Maybe you want to have SSG above Gen G. I don't think I do that. I think I still have Gen G above SSG, and I would have complexity above Gen G as well. But yeah, it's a little interesting. You got a lot of EU favoritism in here. I don't know necessarily if that's the case. And then I think I'm with you. 10 is a little interesting. Moist. You can have Moist in there. I can see it. You can also have a Falcons, maybe a Rule 1. Maybe, I don't know, Crew,
Nah, I think the only team there is like Falcons or Ruin.
I think if Crew were controlling Sam, then they'd
Yeah, then
definitely be on the
but
list.
since it's like questionable. But same thing for Mina, since it's not clear that Mina has a number 1, then it makes it a little interesting. I think it's a top 10 style. I think it's a solid top 10. It's very based. Next, hopefully in 2 weeks, maybe we can spice it up a little bit. It's a little too tame for my eyes, but it'll be okay.
Okay. Interesting. So let us know. Obviously, the tweet's going to go out. You let us know how you feel on the tweets. Who's your top 10 teams right now? Yeah. When you criticize the list, make sure to drop your top 10. That's all I want to know. Because y'all be criticizing, y'all be dropping 10 teams. I want to know your 10 teams. So let me know while y'all be talking all that talk. I don't agree with this team and this team. No, just drop a list. How about that? Anyways, like we said, there's a lot going on. And of course, there is RLCS this weekend for MENA and for other regions, but nothing here on the main broadcast. And this broadcast is going to show CRL Worlds, which is about that time. It's time to get into it. CRL begins Friday. Northwood are your reigning CRL World Champions. It feels like it's the Northwood show going into this event. I'm not gonna lie, guys. But of course, Tylacto, you and you guys from Europe are gonna come over and try to see if y'all can do some damage.
Absolutely. I mean, there's still a handful of teams that can definitely, probably only one European, actually beat Northwood. And don't get me wrong, I think everyone here and all of chat would like to see them lose, even if it's just in groups. That won't happen, of course. But if you can't wait to see EU against NA, well, you don't have to, because it's here this weekend. And nothing I say about EU is going to matter, because it has to be taken with a heap of salt obviously, I love my EU universities, but last year, if you weren't watching CRL Worlds, well, one, you missed out, and two, EU didn't get a single team or university to playoffs, and that's a really fun fact. I'm just going to put it out there before it's pointed out by someone else. They lost every single series possible, apart from one where Kiel swept Colombia. They looked great, but they would later go on to lose to Colombia anyway in a fashion that we don't talk about.
Yeah, you know, we talked on the show about EU and NA a lot, but it's definitely very clear the level between the two regions. I think Europe's greatest accomplishment in CRL Worlds last year was Tylacto getting T-Bates to eat beans on toast. That was the best accomplishment. We ended up having that one on video.
Cold as well. I respect that
cold,
he ate cold beans.
Yeah, then I had to eat again in London, bro. Like, I don't know what the fascination with that is. I don't ever do that
twice? That's wow.
Wait, what do you rate it out of 10, Bates?
I mean, I
That'd
ate
be
it
a
cold
5.
though, so it wasn't baked beans. I mean, you probably if you put the toast, you actually make it real toast and not just bread. I think you just ate bread. Isn't that right, Tylacto? Yeah, I just ate bread. Actually do toast and then baked beans.
Ideally be toast.
I mean, it sounds like a good snack. It's not a bad snack. It's not that bad. It's something where I just want to get something, put a little bit of energy in my body, not too many calories. I'll do that, like a lunch or something like that, and then I go harder. I eat a bigger, more plentiful meal for supper or something along those type of lines. Go harder.
Let's take a look at the CRO groups and bracket. Which group is the group of death? Both Northwood Blue and Northwood White are placed in Group A.
Is it B?
D.
I'm about to say
D's the group
B
of
is
death.
most definitely not.
Okay.
D for death. Yeah, D.
I don't
D
think it
for
really
death.
is. I don't know, man. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Y'all have a lot of favor in this Dr. Boomman team. I don't know.
I mean, it's just because it's the 4 versus 5 seed. It's groups A and D are absolutely clear of B and C on paper.
I think Berlin did well. Berlin did well by being mid in the playoffs. They did well.
Yeah,
they got to avoid Group D. They learned a lesson. Did you think that was tactical? It might have been. It might.
I mean, there was definitely outright a top 4 in Europe for the whole season. We had almost no Game 7s in playoffs. Like, it was so concise and well decided. But as the further and further we got in, it realized and became quite clear that we had a top 1, and that is Dr. Booman's school, based, of course, in Hanover, Germany. They are absolutely clear of the rest of the top 3. Amsterdam
my gosh, you're just talking.
won't be with their main. Well, I'm just talking about within the EU teams. I could still say they're going to lose to every NA team, but they are completely clear of the other EU teams. Only Hamburg seemed to give them any trouble. Hamburg beat them 6-0 twice, and they still lost the series 4-2. Hanover are a completely different breed of European university team to which we've seen this all last year.
Were you saying that before the playoffs started?
Before the tournament? Yeah, you can see their roster on paper.
No, you were saying that before the playoffs started. So you're picking them before Berlin, better than Berlin before the playoffs.
Every single talent member on the European team had Hanover winning the tournament, and it wasn't close, and we weren't surprised.
Interesting indeed. I see. It's gonna be so sad when they don't make it out of Group D. But I will say that Hamburg team, hell, with Calix and them boys, they're your best hope. They're your best hope.
They upgraded since last year. They had an even stronger roster in fall with Nex, but he failed, so he dropped out, unfortunately for him. But that's good news for Hartman, because Hartman comes back into the fray, and he actually has really stepped up. Now, I agree. You know, he ain't Nex, and Hamburg, ultimately, they were meant to be the best team in winter. They didn't even win. Berlin did, and they qualified first, so credit to them. The issue for Hamburg, Bates, is that they've got both Northwoods, and both Northwoods are in the same group, and I don't know how I feel about that.
I know, it's just unlucky. It's just simply unlucky for EU. And then Berlin, I don't know, man. I'm not seeing. And when I look at why'd the graphic go away? People have to know what we're talking about. Put the graphic back on. People put the graphic back on. Where the graphic is. Because when we're looking at Berlin and Group B, I mean, Group B is the easiest group, surely, right? It just is. It has to be.
B and C.
I think B is
really.
easier.
I think
B is easier.
C has Akron,
well, then
right?
C.
You gotta realize that
Colombia.
Sedu are the bottom seed from Europe, and Amsterdam, sure, they made grand finals, but they don't have Vinci.
Exactly.
They're going to be playing with DevC, who they did play with in winter, and he's a great player. But
I mean, Vinci was the best player.
Yeah, he was the best player statistically in the tour.
So that's gonna be hard to match. But I don't know. I just cause like Stockton had a more of a they had a light run through the LCQ. I don't know. I feel like 3 of the best 4 teams, 3 of the best 5 teams in the LCQ. They're all on the same side of the bracket and I mean people knew it was gonna happen. It's just unfortunate. That's just how the LCQ runs. Like getting away. Now I'm doing IRSC. I know UTA. I mean, they're an alright team, but I mean, they could put Stockton, put them on the back burner a little bit. Stockton, I mean, the best competition was, I guess, UTD or something like that, if I remember correctly in there. So
yeah, I'm kind of curious. What teams are you super sad that just missed out? Because I was heartbroken that Kiel didn't make it back and fix what they did to me last year. They lost both LCQ quali games in uppers and lowers. But I looked over at NA and I couldn't really believe that UTA and IRSC didn't even make it. Even the SDSU didn't make it in their place. Like St. Clair, the run they made, I don't know. It's so great for those teams, but I feel sad for those that missed out.
yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's tough. That's what the LCQ does. That's why you don't put yourself down there, because then it's just bracket. Then it becomes a day. It's hot and everything changes. SDSU, I think, could have done more. Could have done better than a couple teams here. Also think IRSC could have done some real. Could have been some real competition for some teams. UTA. I believed in them a lot throughout the year, but they just be lacking in some areas. it's just they don't have the consistency that's necessary to be one of the best teams. Even if they were here, they would just bow out if we get eliminated day 2 and just be bygones. Let bygones be bygones. But I think there's a clear best teams in the game. It's gonna be interesting to see. But I do think that EU, y'all have, in my opinion, yeah, I think there's at least. There's a chance for 2 teams to make it.
Yeah, I was gonna say
2 teams to make it.
I got 2
out of groups, which is something that y'all couldn't say last year. There's a chance. Now, if it happens,
hey, there was definitely a
There was not a
chance
chance.
last year.
Yeah,
It's
it was
just
just-
every
I mean, maybe you had one team. It was just
star
Berlin.
alive.
It was just Berlin, but unfortunately, they choked.
You can tell me Kiel shouldn't have made it out of groups.
They lost.
Tylacto, you fell to your knees. We don't
Yeah.
forget that. Come on, how many
They
times do we
lost.
have to have this conversation?
Yeah, but they were playing with their knees in game 5 after going 3-0. Like, come on, like
Who's that they lost
it
to?
could have been
Remind me
so
again?
Valleyfield,
Oh,
the
yeah,
same Valleyfield in
Valleyfield.
fairness, who did
Valleyfield,
they
the
did
Magic.
make top 4.
That was Magic,
They
though.
were up on Northwood. It was pretty magic. I'm just
Valleyfield was Magic all weekend.
That was magic. I'm not gonna lie.
You can't doubt that. It's okay though. It's okay though.
Yeah.
Listen, it's fine. I think, matter of fact, there's 3 teams. I think that Hamburg, they're in a tough group. You put Hamburg in Group B, and you put
yeah.
Yeah. and then you put Hanover. You put Hanover in Group C. I think you have a guarantee 2. I like both of them. I think those are your 2 best teams.
Yeah.
I think those 2 best teams of you. Because they play a lot of offense. Berlin, it's just very methodical.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's going to win games, but they're luckily in a very easy group, so they might be for their benefit. Just to get eliminated first round, though, when they play somebody from Group A or D.
Roll this. Who do you have winning
We
the
don't know nothing
tournament?
about that.
Line Blaze.
That's a good prediction. Can anyone dethrone Northwood? Northwood trying to retain their CRL title. Like I said when I introed this segment, it looks like this is Northwood's tournament to lose. They have everything that they need. They've been consistent over the course of things. But my 2 analysts, Mr. Bates and Mr. Lacto, do you think there's teams that could take them down? Do they win again? How do you feel?
Oh, most definitely they got teams that could take them down.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Mhm.
More so this year than last year. What do you say, Lacto?
I completely agree. There's teams that can beat them. I think there's 5 other teams, maybe
5?
there's 4 that can beat them, but I still think they're probably going to win. Now, I'd like to give Akron the credit that they can beat them, but Akron never lose.
No,
they never
Akron
beat
can't
Northwood.
beat them.
Always lose.
They always lose
They
like
always
1-4.
lose 4-1. Always, it's like 4 different times they've lost 4-1 to Northwood. I love
know.
Akron, but I
But
can't
they
believe
play
it.
they play so tight though. The games be like
Yeah.
2-1. They're really close games.
Yeah.
They just can't they can't seem to beat it. But listen, we're on land now. You know Tristan, you know Buzz. On
It's
land.
fair, it's fair.
Bullseye,
They would be-
Bullseye with all
But
the bunts. It
still-
might be a little bit different.
but-
They play a physical game.
Last
only
land for them, too.
teams, man. The only teams. I don't want to admit that Northwood White can beat Northwood Blue, but it's probably true.
They can. They can.
Columbia, we know they can. Whether they're going to actually put it together on LAN,
I don't know.
Fisher have the roster too, and of
Fisher
course,
should be able to beat him.
exactly, and of course, Dr. Boomin can. So that's what matters.
Yeah, just Dr. Boomer. I think Hamburg got an outside chance looking in.
I mean, Hamburg are
don't-
the sort of team that can tilt them and throw them off their game. Hamburg are literally averaging nearly like 5 demos per game.
Yeah, because they play so aggressive, but that's their problem though. They play so aggressive that's their unbecoming. They don't know how to slow down. Calyx needs to stop trying to go for demos for no reason. I honestly think that's why they lost to Dr. Boomin. That's just my opinion. If they realized that they need to just take a deep breath, but it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, the fact is, you look at individual talent in terms of like players that can make close qualifiers and deep runs into RLCS qualifiers. The only team to me on paper that is stronger than Dr. Boomin, well, teams, it is Northwood, Blue, and Fisher. I think Dr. Boomin on paper are the third strongest roster in terms of individual ability. They've never lost a series in EU as this roster, but then of course they haven't been tested enough. Can they do it on LAN? Let alone with the hopes really of EU on them. And last time we put the EU hopes on any of the teams, we know what happened.
Yeah, we do know what happened. It was an L. It was a massive one. And I don't want to put too much stock into him. I don't know. Boomin's interesting because I would want to see Boomin again going up against Hamburg in the finals. I know Amsterdam made it back to the grand finals and Boomin beat it, but I don't know. I think the Amsterdam team also with their full roster could have also been a really good team for y'all as well.
Yeah,
so, it'll be interesting
true.
to see.
It's just
It'll be
so
interesting to see.
tough. As a rounding thought for me, really, is it's really tough to get an EU NA final unless, like Dr. Boomin, go through the lower branch of their group, which if they are so good, surely they'll maybe beat Fisher and go through uppers. So it could be tough to get an EU NA finals. And frankly, we shouldn't be talking about that when we just need to get an EU team to playoffs.
Yeah, how about you get to the playoffs first? You
Yeah.
gotta slow down. See, look, we just had Ferra on here saying we hype up NA too much, but see, here we know we're just clearly better. There's no conversation. Y'all need to take baby steps. Make the bracket first. How about you do that? That's an accomplishment, y'all. Make the bracket first, and then anything else, you should be clapping, hooting, applauding. Everybody there should be so happy. I hope y'all brought a whole entire European armada. I hope there's 100 of y'all, just so y'all could be happy and have something to cheer for. I like it when y'all are happy. When Europeans are happy in the Rocket League, that means it's a good product. And I want you to be happy, Tylacto. I don't want you being dropping to your knees. No more memes for you this year. Yeah. I want you to be happy.
Yeah, I actually only woke up from the pain that I went through. I actually haven't really done anything other than sleep since that time. So it's nice to come out really and be able to talk about this because it's going to be better this time. And that's why you're going to have to tune in this weekend as far as I'm concerned, because it can't go any worse than it did.
If you want to see which teams take the trophy or the medals going into CRL Worlds, as well as seeing whether or not Tylacto will jump for joy or be on his knees in pain, you can tune in right here, twitch.tv/Rocket League this weekend for CRL World Championships. If you are in the Dallas area, this will be at DreamHack Dallas. So if you were already going to DreamHack Dallas, congratulations. There's Rocket League happening all over the venue. That's not the only Rocket League event happening. I believe Rocket Clash is happening as well. So be sure to keep it kind of locked in because there's a lot going on here, and we want to see what happens at our second CRL World Championship. That being said, I gotta go. My flight leaves in like 3 hours, so I need to head to the airport. We need to end this show, so that's exactly what we're gonna do. On behalf of all of the staff, thank you guys so much for all of the hard work behind the scenes. We're talking Chris, Sky, Ben, Jay, Kier, everyone, Ace as well with the YouTube. Thank you guys so much for all of the work in the back end. D-Rect, I gotta give a shout out to him for the stats. Much appreciated for him as well. Our guests, Ferra and Tylacto, absolutely phenomenal. If you guys enjoyed their takes, please be sure to give them a follow. As well as, of course, Worldiz and T-Base for being themselves because we love them. And you at home, chat, thank you guys so much for supporting First Touch week in and week out. We love to see you guys in the chat. We love to see you guys on Twitter, even in the YouTube comments. Be sure to keep it locked in on all of those at First Touch RL on Twitter, because there's definitely some more things that are going to be coming up in the future that you guys are going to want to keep it locked into. That being said, this has been First Touch. Of course, thank you, Psyonix, for allowing us to do this on your platform. We appreciate it so much. That's going to be it for us. We'll be back next week to talk the EU Spring Invitational and, of course, to recap on a lot of things happening this weekend. Be good to each other. Send some extra love this weekend as well to each other. That's going to be it, though, for us here on First Touch. 1, 2, toodaloo. We'll see you next week.